God damn, they down 30?
Who?
The Clippers.
Right now?
Yeah, to Dallas. God damn. They losing 108-78 in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left. God damn, boy.
Actually, that's how we gonna start this podcast off.
Jesus Christ.
Welcome to Hoops and Brews. We starting the podcast off.
damn.
Actually, okay, we intended to start the podcast off with Hooper and Nah. But I kind of feel like we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room by the way that we started this podcast. Yes. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth with Torian later about the Clippers and the Lakers. But on this episode of Hoops and Brews, which is episode number 62, this is an episode where we are going to have a call-in episode. So that means that every single segment will be featuring a guest. So we'll have a different guest throughout the episode. Everybody's going to call in, so yes, we're probably going to have some technical difficulties. Yes, you probably going to hear somebody kids in the background. Yes, you're going to hear phones ringing and shit like that, but that's just because we got a call-in episode, but it's going to be fun. We don't really do these often. So our first guest is the managing content editor on Hoops and Brews, Chris A. Kidd, bringing it to you live from where you at, in Washington?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Go ahead, intro yourself, man.
What is good? It's dope to be back with y'all again for another episode. I think in the summertime when you guys first had me on, and that was real dope. It was about a 2-hour.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the episodes that we got to have the most plays too.
Yeah, that was dope, man. I really enjoyed it, and it's just dope to be back. You guys can follow me on Twitter at CKIDD206, as TPJ already broke down. I help out editing-wise, so when these guys send stories, I go ahead and edit them. I've already done 2. Did the one on LeBron possibly retiring, which I don't think he is, but if he did,
that kind of like sparked a big like all of last week. Our Twitter feed was surrounding your article, right?
That's good.
That's basically dope. Your article started like Pavy on a tangent, and then Pavy went on a tangent with Twitter, and you argued with Twitter all about LeBron all last week.
Not all last. It wasn't all.
It was like for 3 days, but it was after he dropped that article.
Nah, it was really yesterday.
No, not yesterday. Last week you also had an argument about LeBron about like it was like some random fucking argument you were having with people for like 3 days about LeBron.
I don't even remember. I argue so much on Twitter, bro.
Yeah, you really do. You argue
so much. I literally do not know. I literally do not remember what. I'll probably spend, if I want to, I can probably spend 5 hours arguing on Twitter about one topic.
Yeah, and you were doing that like last week, and it was, but the argument started because the conversation came from Chris's article, where he said, what if LeBron retires? And it was a great article. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, man. But yeah, I just thank you guys for bringing me on board, and make sure you check out my other writing. I write for Black Sports Online as well, and then the 94 Feet Report covering straight basketball. So you can find me. Just search my name, Christopher Kidd, BSO, or the 94 Feet Report, and you can see some of the articles I've written because I've been writing like crazy and doing podcasts. I also have a podcast with a friend of mine who he's the Seattle PI reporter for the Seattle Seahawks, and we do a podcast titled Seahawks Man to Man. So if we got any Seahawks fans or just people that want to know more about the Seahawks in Cali, be sure to hit up Seahawks Man to Man podcast. It's only 30 minutes or less, but it's good content and it's covering the Seahawks. So
I'm actually gonna check it out because like I've really like since we started doing Hoops and Brews, and I've really like honed in and like learned more about, because I'm watching basketball way more than I ever have. Like I've learned so much just about like the game and the other people's and the players' games. Yeah. That I kind of faded away from football. But when football was happening, like I actually really enjoyed watching the Seahawks. So I'm definitely gonna check that out. Especially as we go towards the playoff season, because the one thing I am gonna do from the next like 4 weeks from now is like really know what the hell is going on in the NFL. So I know like the Seahawks, they're like, aren't they battling to make it into the playoffs right now?
Yes, right now they're trying to keep up with the Los Angeles.
Sorry, you hear the LA urban landscape in the background with the sirens.
With the LA Rams,
yeah, the Rams.
The Rams are really good this year.
Exactly. So really the Seahawks have their work cut out for them. And losing Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. It's going to be tough, but they can get it done.
Yeah. Word. I do know Richard Sherman went down for a year. That hurt me.
Hurt a lot of people.
That hurt me. I just hurt a lot of people. I think the one thing also just personally about the NFL this year is just like so many of the big stars are hurt. like I would tune in to watch Green Bay play randomly if like I knew Aaron Rodgers was playing, cause like I'll tune in to watch Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not gonna tune in to watch Brett whoever the fuck.
Yeah, Brett Hundley or whatever.
So I feel like because so many of the big names are hurt, it kind of hurts. It's kind of hurt the NFL this year.
I think, and even more so than more so than a protest. Yeah. I feel like what the protests have not necessarily done is expose the NFL for like being like a racist league. Because I still don't necessarily think that the NFL is a racist league, and I feel like a lot of like Black America right now is trying to paint the NFL as a racist league. I don't paint the NFL as a racist league. Like they are giving a lot of people the opportunity to like better themselves, regardless of what we think about the trauma and shit that is going on with that. What the protests have really showed is just like capitalism. That's really what the protesters like pointed out, is that like capitalism like matters more than people, and that people don't even want to have the conversation, especially if it's affecting the money. And what you see from the owners is that they're panicking because it's affecting the money. Yeah. And they're like, yo, y'all fucking up the money. And the players like, no, y'all got to listen to us. But they like, no, y'all fucking up the money. Like, y'all really ruining the money. Yeah. Like, if you ruin the money, there is no league. And if there is no league, then y'all ain't getting paid. So, like, but if you the players and that's what you really believe in, then you have to stand up for yourself. Yeah. So it's like basically showing that all of this capitalistic bullshit and these backroom deals and all this shit to basically blackball, Colin Kaepernick is just like capitalism, because they just like, this is bad for our product. We don't want him here. You're bad for our product, because we don't want to have to take the time to spend the money to organize and do all of this shit. Like, this isn't our responsibility. Do you get what I mean? So now, even with this fucking fund that they have or whatever, that they gonna start up to do the program, if you think about it, the NFL has been a predominantly black league since like the 80s?
I would say maybe 70s. Late
70s?
Late 70s.
I'd say 80s.
Early 80s, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, early 80s.
Yeah, so for like 40 years? I'm sorry, around 40 years, 30, 40 years, you've predominantly, utilized black athletes to build your league. So all the players are saying is like, if you recognize all of these things and these social injustices that are going on, and you're continuing to use us to help with our product, you need to care like we care.
I mean, you just want to be respected.
And in the NBA, the one thing that Adam Silver and David Stern have always done is they have looked out for the athletes and always came from a perspective of, we are looking out for the athletes. The NFL more so acts like that old school teacher where if you didn't stand a certain way, they smack you on the arm and say, make sure you stand up straight.
You know why though? Because in the NFL, it's more about always the team than it is the athlete. In the NBA, again, they market their stars. Like, they market them with me. For instance, with me not watching football as much anymore, right? I could be out, and I'm out a lot, and I can see a football player and actually not know it's a football player. Like, literally will have no idea. The man might have 1,400 yards receiving. I legit don't know who the man is. With basketball, if somebody averaging 28 points, even if you're a casual fan, you probably know who he is. Also, you can tell because you can just tell who they are. So it's like, in basketball, you more so market the stars and the players. So if LeBron gets mad one day and literally says, I'm not playing, people legit not watching that game.